سيدنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to this first session. And the idea is we will go through the book and so wherever, to clarify everything, and wherever you do not understand something fully, then you can ask the question and try to answer the question. And this book, the original book is about 400 pages, very intense work. So what I've done is I've now simplified it, extracted from there, and I informed the author, Binimat Al-Atiqi, what I was going to do, so that it can be accessible to more and more people. Because nobody in our community, maybe 1 out of 5,000 will buy a book 400 pages and read it. So, alhamdulillah, that is what I've done. So it's an attempt to just simplify it and also to bring forth and to show the numerous mathematical miracles that are there in the Quran. So, which is something very unique and which is a clear proof that the Quran was not the work of a human being. Because no human being, because this Sheikh Bassam Al-Jarrar, who's also doing this, but his work is all in Arabic. But he's got engineers with him, and with the help of computers, that is how they have come about with all this information, because you do need computers to come to the conclusion of a lot of these things. And then somebody asked me and said to me, isn't it just a coincidence, you know, that certain number systems come about like that in the Quran? So I said, yeah, if it's 5 or 6 or 2 or 3, you can say it's a coincidence. But 100 coincidences, impossible. So, yeah. All right, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, we'll go to the first page, and that is page 11. All right, now if we look at our hand, for example, in this hand, there are 19 bones. All right, you can Google it later when you get home. There's 19 bones in here, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 bones forms in the hand of man. All right? Surah Fatiha, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, consists of 19 letters. All right? In the wrist, there are 8 small bones in the wrist. All right? 8 fractional bones, I call it. And the first 8 surahs of the Quran starts with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The 9th surah does not start, Surah Tawbah does not start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So these are all clues. The 19 and the 8. All right? Well, in our hand, right hand also, there's the number 18. All right? Your right hand, left hand is 81, the right hand is 18. Okay? There's the 1 and there's the 8. Your lines have disappeared. All right. So, page 11, Surah 1, verse number 1, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This verse consists of 19 letters. There are 19 bones in the hand of man, 8 smaller bones in the wrist. Okay? Surah 1 to 8 starts with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Surah 9 does not start with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Now, when we go to Surah number 27, Surah 27 has got 2 Bismillahs in, 2 Basmalas in Surah 27. Now, if you go to Surah 27, the first Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and the second Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In between, you will have 342 words. Between Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the first one, and the second one that appears in Surah 27. Right? So there's 342 words in there. And the number of fractions, as I mentioned, is 8. And there are 38 numbers in the Quran. Let me just come back to that 342. Surah 9 has no Bismillah. And, oh yes. Now, if you add the numbers, right, Surah 9, you add 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, up to 27. You add those numbers, you get 342. And the number of words between the first Bismillah and the second Bismillah in Surah 27 also adds up to 342 words. Can we see the link? All right? Okay, remember now, if you add between Surah 9 and Surah 27, all right, there's 19 surahs altogether. Then in Surah 27, you've got 2 Bismillahs. Only Surah with 2 Basmalah. And between the 2 Basmalas, there's 342 words. And if you add the numbers from 9, 10, 11 till 27, you get 342 also.
Interesting.
All
So
right.
9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12.
Yeah.
Interesting, yeah?
Okay, so it's a pity now there isn't a whiteboard, and I could have done a little sketch for you to show you. All right. So 38 numbers are mentioned in the Quran, and 38 divided by 19 gives you 2. The number 19 plays a very big role, all right? Because 19 is also mentioned in the Holy Quran. We'll get to that later on again. So,
the 30 plus the 8 giving you the 38,
yeah,
is there a reason?
the 8
for
are
that?
the fractions.
The 8 fractions.
Fractional numbers.
And the 30
right?
parts of the Quran.
And 30 are whole numbers. All right? In the, when the Quran speaks about inheritance, 1/4, 1/2, 1/6, etc., etc. So all those fractional numbers, there are 8 of them in the Quran, and there are 8 bones, fractional bones, in your wrist. Right? Can we link? And you see the link. So it's very astonishing. All right? 8 fractions are mentioned in the Quran. There's 8 fractional bones in here, in your hand. All right? And there are 38 numbers altogether mentioned in the Quran, and 19 times 2 gives you 38. Okay? Page 12. This is something that you've got to read a number of times to see the beauty in it. All right? If you grasp it in the first go, that's fine. But it's beautiful to just read through it and see which computer could have devised this. 96, that is Iqra Bismi Rabbika Alladhi Khalaq, that is Surah Al-Alaq, Surah 96. Now, as we know, there are 114 surahs in the Holy Quran. All right, there is a Quran on the market now with 86 surahs. So now you can see, mathematically, it can never be correct. It can never be correct because mathematically, it must be 100% correct. The 114 surahs, the number 114 plays a big role in the numbering system also. And we'll see that later on. Now, if you go to Juz Amma, all right, Juz Amma is the 30th Juz of the Holy Quran. Now, Juz Amma consists of 37 surahs. All right, 37 surahs. In the middle is Surah Al-Alaq. Surah Al-Alaq is Surah 96. There's 18 surahs to the beginning of Juz Amma, and there's 18 surahs to follow to the end of the Quran. So Surah Al-Alaq is dead in the center even of Juz Amma. Right? So Surah Al-Alaq, then there's 18, where you start with Amma Yatasa'alun, Surah Naba, that is 18 surahs that way, and 18 surahs to the end of the Quran. Alright, so we can see. Now the first revelation on page 12 there, first revelation comprises 5 verses or 5 ayat. And it consists of 20 words. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, khalaqal insana min 'alaq. That's 5 verses with the first revelation. It consists of 76 letters. As you can see, 19 divides exactly into 76, 4 times. Alright? Now, Surah Al-Alaq, the whole Surah Al-Alaq consists of 19 verses. Alright? 19 ayat or verses. And it consists of 285 letters, the whole Surah Al-Alaq. And 19 divides exactly into 285, gives you 15. Alright? Now Surah Al-Alaq is the 19th surah from the last surah of the Quran, Surah 114, Surah An-Nas, and it is also to the beginning of Juz Amma. Right? The 19th. The last revelation is Surah Al-Nasr. إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ. That was the last revelation. Now look at the link between Surah 96. Look at the link from the first revelation to 22, 23 years later when the last revelation was revealed. Alright? So, the last revelation being Surah Al-Nasr consists of 3 verses, 3 ayat, and verse 1 consists of 19 letters. Alright? The first verse, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ, 19 letters. The first revelation, right? Surah Al-Alaq. Surah Al-Alaq, which is the 19th surah. Alright? So Surah Al-Alaq is the 19th surah. Surah Al-Alaq consists of 19 verses, and the first verse of the last revelation consists of 19 letters. And the complete surah, last revelation, consists of 19 words. إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْهُ إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. 19 words. Alright? So look at the link there. So Surah Al-Alaq is the 19th surah from the last surah. It consists of 19 verses, Surah Al-Alaq. And the last revelation consists of 19 words. Okay? And from Surah Al-Nasr to the end of the Quran, you have 20 verses. Right? So as we can see, the first revelation, 20 words. Right? The 5 verses of Surah Al-Alaq, 20 words. Here, there's 20 words remaining from the last revelation to Surah An-Nas. Okay?
20 verses.
So a lot to follow, but if you can see the link in there. Alright? First revelation, 19 ayat. Okay? The last revelation, 19 words. The first word, the first one consists of 19 letters, and the last revelation 19 words. So look at the number, the role that number 19 plays there. Beautiful. Okay. The number of verses in the Quran is 6236. 6,236, 62 and 63 reverse. 6236 verses. Verses are in the total number of verses in the Quran. Now let's go to the bottom of the page 12 there. The word Allah appears 2,698 times in the Quran. 19 divides exactly into it, 142 times. The same with Rahman appears 57 times in the Quran, 19 times 3. And Rahim appears 114 times in the Quran, which is the number of surahs of the Quran, which is 19 times 6. So the number 19 divides exactly into the number of times Allah appears, Rahman appears, Rahim appears. Now we come to Surah Sajda. That is the sujood at Tilawa. When you recite the Quran, like for example, Surah Al-Alaq, Wasjud waqtarib. Then we prostrate and we go into sujood. All right? So there are 15 such cases in the Holy Quran. All right? Now this is Surah number 32, Surah Sajda. This surah consists of 32 ayat or verses. Oh, sorry. It is Surah number 32. It consists of 30 verses and 372 words. Now the sujood point or prostration point is in the verse 15 of Surah Sajda. Alright? That is Surah 15, the 15th verse. That is Surah 32, verse 15. And that verse consists of 15 words. Alright? So when you recite Surah Sajda, normally if you listen to the Friday morning Salah in Makkah or Medina, they always they recite a surah where they perform this tilawat sajda in. What is the one that they always write? Alif Lam Mim. But all right, so this is the Surah Sajda is the surah named Surah of Prostration. So there are 15 points in the Holy Quran, and in verse number 15 of the Surah Sajda is the verse where the word Sujjadan appears. Sujjadan means to sujood, all right? To prostrate. And that is in verse number 15. And you know the whole surah consists of 30 verses. Now in the Surah 32 verse 15, إِنَّمَا يُؤْمِنُ بِآيَاتِنَا الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهَا خَرُّوا سُجَّدًا وَسَبِّحُوا بِحَمْدِ رَبِّهِمْ وَهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. Now this is the ayat number 15, the one we spoke about in Surah Sajda. The word Sujjadan is word number 186 in the surah. All right? There where it says there, Biha Kharru Sujjadan. All right? So Sujjadan is word number 186 in the surah. From the beginning, word 186. Now as you can see there, 186. If you add the numbers 1 plus 8 plus 6 is also 15. All right? But now 186 multiplied by 2 gives you 372. And as we know, 372 is the total number of words of the surah. Right at the top of the first line there. 372 words of the surah. So look at the link between the middle word, the word number 186, Sujjadan, and the total number of verses in the surah. 372 words, and 372, 186 times 2 gives you 372. Page 14. So that's all clear to everybody now. No? All right. Ummatan wasatan. Now, that means the ummah of the middle path. All right, Islam, the Muslims is an ummah, is an ummah of the middle path, not of the extreme to the right, nor extreme to the left. Wasatan means the middle. All right? Middle part. And this surah, in Surah 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, as you know, is the longest surah in the Holy Quran. All right? Consists of 286 ayat or verses. Now, in Surah 2, verse 143. Now, 143 is exactly halfway of the entire surah. Right? Surah Al-Baqarah consists of 286 words. Half of 286 is 143, the middle of the surah. And that ayah tells you that you are a middle nation. All right? You see that? Okay. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا, etc. to the end of the ayah. All right? So, this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to the ummah as a moderate, balanced ummah, the ummah of the middle path. All right? Now, in that same ayah, it's a long ayah, that's Surah 2, 143, all right? Now, the word Rasulah appears there, all right? Rasulah, it is the 23rd word from the beginning of the verse and the 23rd verse from the end of the verse. So in other words, you have Rasulah there in your ayah, in the verse, you have Rasulah, and both sides you've got 22 verses to the beginning, 22 words to the beginning, and 22 words to the end of that verse 143. All right? So it is the 23rd words of Rasulah, the messenger that we follow of the middle path. Nabi Sallallahu was always a person who followed the middle path. He was the demonstrator of that. All right? And that word is in the middle of that ayah that tells us that you are an ummah of the middle path, and Rasulah is in the middle of that middle sentence. All right? So can we see all the coincidences now? No coincidence. All right? So the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was the living example of following the middle way. Okay? All clear? Now these are the words that appear in the Quran, and we can see now how opposites appear exactly the same number of times. Now for somebody to keep track of this over a period of 23 years, it's an impossibility. No human being, no computer system could have done that for you. All right? Page 15. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Man in singular form, Rajul, is mentioned 24 times. Woman, Imratu, is in the singular form also, is also mentioned 24 times. All right? No apartheid. Can you see that? Same number of times. Right? Not like some feminists would say otherwise. So here the Quran has mentioned man in singular form 24 times and woman in singular form 24 times. Malaika, angels, are mentioned 88 times in the plural form, angels, and the angel appears 68 times. All right? The angel appears 68 times. Devils are mentioned 88 times. The devil also 68 times. All right? So the angel 68 times, the devil 68 times. Malaika in plural form, angels 88 times, devils 88 times. All right? Iblis or Shaitan is mentioned 11 times. And seeking refuge with Allah, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem, A'udhu Billah, is also mentioned 11 times. All right? The phrase Allah likes or Allah loves appears 16 times, and the phrase Allah dislikes, does not love, also appears 16 times. The word belief is mentioned 25 times, Iman, And disbelief or kufr is mentioned also 25 times. Page 16. The word cold or coolness is mentioned 4 times. The word heat or hot is also mentioned 4 times in the Quran. Now you can imagine there, among 6,236 verses in the Quran, this balance was maintained. All right? The word summer is mentioned once, the word winter is mentioned once. The words east and west in its various forms are each mentioned 16 times. Mashriq wal Maghrib, right? The east and the west. The word planting is mentioned 14 times, and the word harvesting is also mentioned 14 times. So you plant something 14 times, you harvest, that's also mentioned 14 times. Spread throughout those verses, 6,236 verses of the Holy Quran. And the word fruits is also mentioned 14 times. The word tree in its various forms is mentioned 26 times. The word plant in its various forms is also mentioned 26 times. The phrase 7 heavens, Sabah Samawat, 7 heavens is mentioned 7 times in the Quran. Subhanallah. Alright? The word nur, illumination or guiding light alone, is mentioned 33 times, and the word sun is mentioned 33 times. Nur, light, the sun gives light, both mentioned 33 times each in the Quran. The word for closeness or getting nearer appears 10 times, and the word farness or being away also appears 10 times. The word qul, say, and they say, qalu, each appears 332 times in the Quran. The plural of Jannah, paradise, and Jahannam, each appears 77 times in the Quran. So Jannah appears 77 times, Jahannam appears 77 times in the Quran, each. Dunya, this world, and appears 115 times. Akhirah also appears 115 times. So you must just write there each. Right? So from that, we can see that how this balance was maintained is indeed a miracle. Indeed a miracle. No. Surah Al-Kawthar. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. Now, this is Surah number 108. Surah 108. Now, here the number 10 plays a major role, because if you notice that every ayah ends in a ra. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar fasalli lirabbika wanhar inna shani'aka huwal abtar. Alright? So each verse ends in a ra, and ra is the 10th letter of the alphabet. Alright? Now, if we take the letter number, Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar, the ra there is letter number 16, if you add the letters now in the verse. Okay? Fasalli li rabbika, that ra is letter number 21. Wanhar And the other Ra is letter number 28. Inna shani'aka wal abtar. That Ra is letter number 43. Alright, so the first Ra is letter number 16, the second one letter number 21, the third one is letter number 28, and the last one is letter number 43. And if you add those numbers, you get 108. And this is Surah 108. Okay? You see that? So, as we know, each verse ends in the letter Ra. Each verse also consists of 10 letters of the alphabet. All right? 10 letters of the alphabet makes up each ayah. All right? 10 letters. Now, the letters that are repeated in each verse, as you see at the bottom there, the letters repeated is Alif, Ra, Kaf, Lam, Nun, and Waw. Alright? Alif, Ra, Kaf, Lam, Nun, and Waw appears in each verse. Alright? Now, what is the number value of Alif is 1, Ra is 10, Kaf 22, Lam 23, Nun 25, Waw 27. Those are the letters of the alphabet. Alright? Those are the letters of the alphabet. And if you add those, you also get 108. So here we can see if any of these verses had to have one letter extra, then this balance would not have been there. All right? This accuracy, mathematical accuracy, would not have been there if any one of those verses had just one harf extra. So there we can see, even if you add the number, the position number of the letter Ra in the surah, you add those numbers, you get 108. If you add the numbers that are, the letters that are repeated in each verse, you add their value according to the alphabet, you also get 108. Subhanallah. And this is surah number 108. Okay? You'll be able to teach somebody else that now?
Definitely.
Okay. Right. Now, Nahr. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar fasalli li rabbika wanhar. Now, Nahr, as we know, the day of Nahr, the day of slaughtering, the day of sacrifice. On what day is it? The 10th of Dhul Hijjah. Right? Remember, each verse or ayah consists of 10 letters of the alphabet. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. You can add the numbers, letter numbers, 10 letters of the alphabet in each one, different in each one. So, Nahr on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. The surah starts with Inna. Alright, Inna. Now we go to the first verse from the beginning of the Quran. That starts with Inna. Now you go to Surah Al-Baqarah. And you recite and you go there until you get to verse number 119. And you will see that that verse number 119 consists of 10 words. Look at the mathematical link between Surah 108 and Surah 2, verse 119. Alright? Now the Alif appears in the Surah also 10 times. The total number of surahs or chapters that end with the letter Ra is also 10. Right? Throughout the whole Quran, you go to the surahs that ends in the letter Ra, 10 of them ends in Ra. The word surah is mentioned 10 times in the Quran also. And Surah Al-Kawthar consists of 10 words. Subhanallah. Alright? 10 words. So as I said, now we go to page 20. Now let's have some water to drink quickly. Now the Surah Al-Qadr consists of 30 words and 115 letters. Now those two numbers plays a big role where mention is made elsewhere in the Quran of the night of decree. All right? Now the word Laylatul Qadr consists of 9 letters. Laylatul Qadr is mentioned 3 times in the surah. So 3 times 9 equal to 27. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. No. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr wa ma adraka ma laylatul qadr. Laylatul qadri khayrun min alfi shahr. So as you can see, Laylatul Qadr is mentioned 3 times in the surah, and each Laylatul Qadr consists of 9 letters. 3 times 9, 27. The first word is Inna, Alif, Nun, Alif. Alright? Alif is letter number 1 of the alphabet, Nun 25 of the alphabet, Alif 1 of the alphabet. You add that, 25 plus 1 plus 1, 27. Okay? Salamun hiya hatta. Now hiya means it is. Alright? In other words, it is the night of Qadr, or what it is. So it is the letter number of hiya, ha and ya. Ha is letter number 26 of the alphabet. Ya is letter number 28 of the alphabet. You add that, you get 54. 27 plus 27 equals to 54. Now from here, the word here, to the end of the Quran, that is An-Nas, Surah An-Nas. From here to the end of the Quran, you have 486 words. 486 words. And 486 is 27 times 18 gives you 486. Alright? Salamun hiya hatta matla'il fajr. That part of the verse consists of 18 letters. Now we can see that 27 times 18 and the 486 words to the end of the Quran, from here to the end of the Quran, 486 words. 486 divided by 27 gives you 18. Salamun hiya hatta matla'il fajr consists of 18 letters. Now let us take the number 27. Alright, we all have got this notion or the idea of the number 27 during the month of Ramadan, the greatness of the month of, or the night of Qadr. Now you take 27 multiplied by 27 gives you 729. Alright? Now you go to verse 729. From the beginning of the Quran you go until you get to 729, which is Surah 5 verse 60 in Surah Al-Ma'idah. Surah 5 verse 60 is 27 times 27. That is the verse. The number of words in this verse equals to 27. You follow that? You've taken 27, multiplied by 27, you get 729. You go to verse 729 and it consists of 27 words. SubhanAllah. Alright? Now, 30, Surah 5, verse 60. Okay, we know 30 plus 30 gives you 60. 30 words in Surah Al-Qadr. Surah Al-Qadr consists of 30 words. And as we know, there are normally 30 days of a month. Alright. Now, Surah 5, verse 97. Alright, verse 97. Now we go to Surah 5 there. Remember that we multiply 27 times 27 and we come out to Surah 5, verse 60. Now go to Surah 97 of that surah, verse number 97 of that surah, which is chapter 97, Surah Al-Qadr. Now verse 97 of Surah 5 consists of 27 and 115 letters, which is exactly what Surah Al-Qadr consists of. Go back to the first line there. Surah Al-Qadr, chapter 97, consists of 30 words and 115 letters. Here, this Surah 5, verse 97 consists of 27 words and 115 letters. So look at the link. The chapter where the word Quran appears the most is chapter number 17, Al-Isra. Alright? The chapter where the word Quran appears the most is in chapter number 17. Now verse 97 of this surah consists also of 27 words. Alright? So Al-Isra chapter number 17, verse 97 consists of 27 words.
En haar naam is Isra.
Oh, okay, Isra. MashaAllah. Okay. But she's not the 27th child, eh?
Sy is amper 27.
Yeah. So if one goes to the 97th verse from the beginning of the Quran, this verse consists also of 27 words. So can we see the miracle in Surah 97, which is Surah Al-Qadr? And you go to those surahs, and the 97th verse consists of 27 words, etc. Alright, so that is the name, where the chapter where the word Quran appears the most, is in chapter 17, verse 97 consists of 27 words. Even the 97th verse from the beginning of the Quran, that's also 27 words. Page 22. We'll just finish off with this. The letters that spell the name Allah in Arabic, Alif, Lam, Lam, Ha, right? Allah appears in Surah Al-Qadr 44 times. Alright? The Alif appears so many times, Lam, Lam, Ha, you add that up, you get 44 times. Alright? Those letters appear in Surah Al-Qadr. So let us go to Surah 44, chapter 44 of the Quran. And that is Surah Al-Dukhan, the smoke. This is the only chapter that refers to the night of decree or the night of Qadr. The mention that the Quran was revealed on a blessed night, Laylatul Mubarakah. Alright? That is Surah 44, verse 3. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin mubarakatin, says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that verse, Surah 44, verse 3. Ila akhir ayah, to the end of the ayah. So, remember now, the name, the letters that spell the name Allah, those letters appear 4 times in Surah Al-Qadr. We have gone now to Surah 44, and we see there Surah 44 verse 3 mentions about the night of Qadr, the night of decree. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin mubarakatin. Alright? Verily we revealed it, the Quran, in a blessed night. So this mention of the Quran appears in the first 6 verses of chapter 44. Alright? That's chapter number 44. The total number of letters in these 6 verses equal 115 letters of Surah Al-Qadr also. So Surah Al-Qadr, 115 letters, and this surah that mentions about this night of decree, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatul mubarakatin, that surah, the first 6 verses that speaks about where the Quran appears, where the mention of the Quran appears in the 6 verses, those 6 verses also consist of 115 letters. So verse number 1 to verse number 6 of Surah 44 consists of 114 letters and 29 words. The month of Ramadan, as we know, is either 29 or 30 days. 29 plus 30 equals to 59. 59 is the number of verses or ayat in Surah 44. Alright? The letters, page 23, the letters that make up the name Al-Quran, Al-Quran, appears 59 times in Surah Al-Qadr. Right? Al-Quran appears 59 times in Surah Al-Qadr, and 59 times also in those 6 verses of Surah 44, verse 1 to 46. So look at the link between that Surah 44 and the 6 verses where Quran is mentioned and Surah Al-Qadr. Surah Al-Qadr, 115 letters, and even the letters of Al-Quran appears 59 times in Surah Al-Qadr and in those 6 verses of Surah 44. Subhanallah. Now, finally, Surah 44 starts with the letters Ha and Mim. Ha, Mim. Alright? These 2 letters appear in Surah Al-Qadr and those 6 verses of Surah 44, a total of 27 times. So look at the mathematical link between Surah Al-Qadr and Surah 44, verses 1 to 6. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
هنيئا 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 آل قرآني حفظتم آي رحماني وفضلتم تلاوته بحين الآن والآن. هنيئا آل قرآني حفظتم آي رحماني وفضلتم تلاوته بحين الآن والآن. تعلقتم به حبا وشوقا فاض تحناني وقد بذلت مساعيكم لحفظ دائم آني. هنيئا آل قرآني